Hey everybody, it is Rolly, and very interestingly for today's prompt for our Theta Day challenge is it's actually a Throwback Thursday kind of thing. So um, just kind of interesting because the prompt for today is taking a look back at a year ago. So last year around this time, what is it that was actually going on? And so yeah, we have like the frizzy rain thing happening again. Um, so what is it that was actually going on that, hey, Sylvain, what was it that was going on that was happening last year? Hey, Lori. And so last year during this time, I actually had to go back and look at the calendar because I'm like, what was it going on last year at this time? So a year ago, what has changed? And so a year ago, I was actually preparing for our fall retreat at Nature's Harmony. This year, we actually did it in September. So, but last year around this time, I was actually preparing for the weekend retreat. So this would have been roughly around the time that I was actually, because I always go the day before, so the retreats, so my workshops or my retreats, or if there's a conference or whatever, I always do it so that if it's like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or like if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I always take the day before of just being able to go and being able to kind of ground myself and get connected with myself. And so this would have been our Thursday, showing up at the retreat, at the retreat. And very interestingly, hey Miranda, very interestingly, it's raining this whole week, and last year around this time it was raining the whole week. So thankfully I don't have snow, so I will take the rain, but a little bit of sunshine would be nice. And we've had a little bit, I think it got I think we probably had about an hour today of sunshine. But so like kind of knowing in terms of time frame of what it is that was going on, there was a lot of things that were happening. So a lot of changes were happening. I was trying a new program out at that point for bookings and scheduling, and that didn't really pan out. It didn't work out very well for me. So although I thought that it was actually going to go really well, but it didn't really. I didn't really like it, and clients didn't really like it. And so it wasn't very effective for me. I put a lot of work in the onboarding of being able to get that program up and running, but it wasn't the right fit for me. And so then pulled that one back, so I actually use Acuity now for my appointment scheduling, and I really like it. And they keep adjusting and modifying some new things. And so when there's something that's happening that just doesn't quite fit, then I send them a message, and hopefully they will upgrade and take some of my suggestions and use them. And I think that if other people make the same kinds of suggestions, I'm sure that they will actually do that. But right now that's not, and they've had actually modified some of the things that I have suggested, and like not necessarily because I suggested them, but that's okay. I'll take credit. I'll take the credit. So around this time, it was about being able to just kind of have some systems in place and some things flowing. And I'm still in the systems in place and still flowing, but at a more, I think I'm a little bit more further ahead than I was. Have had some really great experiences over the last, so starting in December, I think probably starting in December, January, there was a lot of business things that I actually was shifting and changing and trying to figure out. And so, and trying to figure out like where does things fit, what was happening. And so learned a lot from my my business coach Flora, who and that started I think in February, March. We started in there and started doing some things. So started learning some things from her and being able to do that kind of stuff. And then And then now one of the coaches that, because I've had different coaches for different things and different programs, business-wise, and so have really been following a lot of Allison Crow's life coach stuff. And so in the very short period of time that I've been working with her and in the group and the resources that she has been, and it's only been a few weeks that I've actually worked with her, and I really love the changes that I've been able to implement, the connections that I've been able to make, the mindset shift that has that I've actually been able to move forward with. So I am really enjoying this program, and I've learned a lot from a lot of the other coaches, and will continue to learn from some of the other coaches. But in terms of ongoing business coaching, business and life, because Allison does actually both business and life coaching, so I kind of like that because it gives me that opportunity to be able to kind of look at both things, and because my life and my business for me blend together. And so yeah, so if I actually come back and look at this a year from now, I think that there's going to be some huge shifts, some huge changes, some huge growth. I have signed up on a long-term basis to have Nikki working on my website, whereas last year at this time I was still trying to kind of plug away at my website. I had somebody who had originally designed my website and did some things and made those changes. Hey, Chantel. And hey, Kayla. And then, but this time, but this year I actually hired somebody to be able to keep working on it ongoing. So I had somebody who initially set it up, and then I was kind of like plugging away at it. And so Nikki's agreed to continue on full-time, or permanently. I shouldn't say full-time. I don't know necessarily that it'll be a full-time job. But it'll be, if it's a full-time job, then that means I'm doing way too much, and it'll be way too exhausting. So, but right now, just being able to kind of get things set up. And so, but I really like the way that, I like the flow of this new website and how it's actually coming together. And there's going to be some other changes, and I know that. So it's already things that I've got in my head of how to be able to implement, and that'll be something that I will work with Nikki on in the future. But for right now, it is just being able to kind of upgrade and kind of change the brand and change the feel of the website. And so that is where things are at. And so just there was a lot of growth happening a year ago, and so shifting that growth into different viewpoints and different connections. And so one of the things is that I was kind of doing a lot of solo stuff, doing a lot of things on my own back then, a little bit of partnerships, but not huge, just because of where things were at. And the connections that I had at that point, but now I've got a lot more connections. So like doing the from where things were last year to where things are this year is a lot more partnerships and a lot more connections, and I like that. I really like being able to work with someone on a different project, and so being able to work on different projects has actually been really cool. And so the one partnership program that I'm really liking is the Women's Wellness workshop series, and that's really cool because each month I get to work with somebody different, and so being able to bring something new to clients, and having some new clients, some returning clients, but just having that that connection of having some amazing things. And I'm going to share a little bit more about each one of the workshops. I'll probably be doing that sometime next week, and just kind of breaking down like what exactly it is that is going on. And I know that I have some posts and stuff that are out there, but I'm going to actually come on live and be able to share a little bit about each one of the workshops and each one of the speakers that are actually the co-facilitators that are actually going to be working with me on each month, and how things are going to actually tie together. And it's not a they're doing this thing and I'm doing this thing. It's we're actually collaborating and working together so that we're actually growing with two things together. Hey, Anne, haven't seen you in such a long time. And so really liking these new partnerships. And so that is definitely something that's different from last year. In terms of, so that's a lot of the business stuff that is different. In terms of a lot of personal, is that for me, things have definitely shifted. Things have shifted a lot more introspective, a lot more connection to my spirituality, which is, it's not one set thing. So it's kind of like a little different from one thing to the next, but really being able to tap into my spirit name and who I am that way through one of the elders who I was honored with this name a long time ago, and I was honored with my eagle feather, and just tucked it away and tucked it aside and just didn't really do much with it because of my own fear of what am I going to do with it? How am I going to do that? And so just being able to step into who I am and being able to own that has been huge growth for me, and still trying to figure out how exactly that it feels and how it is, but I use my spirit name more often. So Gikudu Way is my spirit name, which means talking feather woman. And like I said, when Jake gifted me the feather, honored me with that, I knew at that point how important that was, and what such an honor to have had received it. And like I said, just took it and stuck it in a file folder and stuck it in the filing cabinet for fear of using it. And I actually use it. I use my feather most weeks. When we do our Inner Goddess Circle, I definitely use it when I'm doing the retreats. And so just being able to have it available and being able to use it is something that I've been doing a lot more of. And just learning to be okay with who I am. And so although with some people, I would actually share a lot of the different things. And so this year, coming out and sharing my experiences has been fearful, has been a challenge, but has been rewarding, right? So one of the things is that I've been able to, I've received a lot of messages of thank you, I'm not alone. Hey, Nadia. Hey, Cynthia. And so just being able to know that that they're not alone, and knowing, and like I said, one of the things when I shared my story is that a lot of times professionals won't share. They want to be able to keep that secret. They don't want anybody else to know that they're having trouble or that they're struggling with mental illness. And it was like, no, I need to bring that forward, and that is my story, and that is part of who it is that I am. And so being able to be able to express that. And so as things go through a little bit more, then I'm going to share a little bit more. Like I've had my eating disorders, and I've had a number of different things that have gone on that have that set me back, but then I'm able to kind of move forward and take the steps forward that I need to take. And so and I'm not alone in that. I'm not alone, and I'm not, whatever it is that I did is not miraculous. It's not super special. It is no more special than my clients' experiences have been. But just being able to own it and being it, and realizing that just because I'm a professional doesn't mean that I that I don't experience things. Doesn't mean that things don't happen to me and that I 100% have it all together all the time. I get angry with my kids and yell at them, and then go back and try and figure out how to be able to fix that or deal with that or whatever. And my husband and I have arguments, and being able to figure out how to be able to deal with that. And if he would just listen to what I said, that would make things so much easier, right? Just kidding. But just being able to have that that understanding of like where things were last year to where things are this year is that I've had that huge personal growth. I've had that opportunity to be able to really explore and dig in and dive in to who I am, and I really do owe a lot of that to the program that I did with Flora. And so I really was able to dig in a lot of where I was at. And like I said, I've had like different experiences with different coaches as well, and been able to like tap into some of those things. But Flora, although that the program when I had initially signed up for it, I thought was going to be focused on business, it really wasn't. It was about being able to figure out who I was so that I can actually figure out how I was shifting and where I was going and what was going to happen. And so from working with her, that was where I was actually able to figure out that like I'm not doing the counseling part of things. I'm using coaching. I'm using the coaching strategies that I took several years ago, and had implemented and incorporated a little bit into some of the programs that I was offering back then. But it was but now being able to do more of that part of it, being able to do more of that coaching piece. And so some of the strategies in terms of coaching are things that I've done with my clients, and that piece of it. But it's that that empowerment piece, whereas with coaching, it's you give a little bit of empowerment, like you are working on trying to focus on what it is that you're doing, and what it is that you're offering. But the coaching really allows you to work with your coach to be able to kind of take a step back and you guys figure out things together. And like I said, I still did a lot of those same things with my clients, and that is a lot of the same approaches, but then there was still like, this is how you need to do this, and this is how you need to do that. And so like there's all these regulations, and there is still regulations around coaching as well. So like that's probably not the right word, but it's still just being able to kind of figure out where things are at. And so knowing that that's definitely not something that I'm doing anymore. And if I need to, and somebody comes and approaches me and requests me to do that, then definitely I will do that. And that's certainly something that I will do. But that is not my my thing. And I have always liked doing group stuff. And so being able to focus on being able to offer the group programs is definitely something that I'm going to continue to work on. I like the fact of being able to offer my services virtually, and with the partnership with Danielle, being have in some circumstances, not all of them, but having some circumstances where we actually have a physical location, and like we're doing with the Unlearn Anxiety, is that we have a physical location, so anybody who's local that wants to be able to come physically, but we also are able to project at distance wise as well. So we're doing that for the first time this during this session, and we're going to see how things go. Being able to offer and this is something that's still in the works. It's not 100% set up yet, but being able to have programs that allow people to learn at their own pace and be able to work through and still have access to me for support. So yeah, so a lot of really neat, cool changes business-wise, but also personally. And so yeah, that's kind of cool. And like I said, just when I actually looked at the calendar and thought, oh, I know that it was raining all last week, or all this whole week of the week before, only because of the fact that the timing is that this is when I would actually been at Nature's Harmony for the first time, and knowing that I was going back. So after that weekend, it was like, oh, I'm definitely coming back. Did that again in September. And when we went in September, it was like, no, this is something that I'm doing annually. So annually every fall. And likely it'll be in September as opposed to October though. But we'll be doing that fall retreat at Nature's Harmony, and so really looking forward to more partnerships, more connections, and I've had a lot of different people who have approached me that they actually want to partner with me for that weekend. And my theme is always different. This year was the inner child work, and last year was rhythm for your soul. Don't know what it's going to be next year at this point, and but just being able to, hey Kelly, just being able to figure out what it is that's going on that way. So yeah, so that's where things are at. So that is where things are at for me, and just been really interesting. And I am, so today's Thursday, so tomorrow and Saturday are my days off. And so I will still be hopping on to do these, but I am, for the most part, not working. I still have a few admin stuff that I still need to work on until I can actually hire somebody to actually do that job, those jobs, which that will come. And so, like I said, I just hired Nikki, got a great partnership going with Nikki, love it. And then look at doing some other partnerships of being able to hire somebody else to be able to help me with some of the other stuff. And really looking forward to my time with my Aunt Barb and my cousin Kiara tomorrow. So we're supposed to meet up for lunch when they're coming back through to head back home from their trip south, and so really looking forward to some of that. And yeah, I think that's it. So like I said, it was just kind of interesting that today's prompt was kind of falls onto a Throwback Thursday, so it was kind of cool. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. For now, oh, before I go though, I need to share. So anybody who's actually watching, so if you actually like Phil Collins, there is a really cool, and I actually try and see if I can find that link after I'm off, and I'll actually post it. But there is a two ladies that actually sing a Phil Collins song, and so they were actually doing the song, and I thought that it was great. I thought it was brilliant. I love the way that the music was going, and so my son pops in. He loves the 80s music. That is definitely his genre. And so he pops into my room and he's like, seriously, like, is that Phil Collins? Like, what are they doing? Are they really truly going to disrespect Phil like that? And so it's just, and if you knew my son, then you would actually know the whole dramatic engagement that we actually have in terms of the conversation. It really is truly dramatic when he's actually speaking about things. And he's really seriously talking from his heart, thinking like, oh my God, seriously, I can't believe that this is actually really truly happening. And so I just need to put that out there. So I just thought that that was actually really hilarious. And for those of you who are watching that know Casey, know that this is, and if you can picture him like, oh God, I can't believe they're totally disrespecting Phil, as though Phil was his like very best friend. So my response to him is like, well, maybe you should message Phil and let him know that they're like just completely disrespecting his song. And so that was actually pretty funny. So anyway, I just wanted to share that before I went off, and just because, like I said, it was like the most hilarious conversation that I was having before hopping on. So anyway, I will talk to you later. Bye for now.